We'll get started to celebrate, as we do today, the 20 years of the Life Cycle Initiative, looking back at how it started at UNEP.
Celebrating the 20 years of the Life Cycle Initiative is really a big event. The Life Cycle Initiative led to many progresses today. Government, industry, international organizations, NGOs, everyone is now speaking of the life cycle analysis or assessment.
Now is an important time, a transition for the Life Cycle Initiative. How do we move now forward from the foundational work which we set to really leapfrogging and integrating the life cycle thinking throughout what we're doing?
Well, I'll just continue to be more than humble to bring you today a constellation, I should say, of speakers to discuss about the developments of life cycle thinking so far.
I really see the hotspot analysis that we were developed in the late by 2017, and all the country hotspot analysis is really being foundational. And I think what's happened is that there was a lot of effort early on in building the supply. And then there was experiments in supply and demand. And I've been amazed in the last 3 to 4 years, the demand for LCA has skyrocketed. And what's amazing, exciting about it, is creating an enormous sort of challenge to the supply community, the tool people, the database people, the people who can do the LCA work.
Where does this need and request for more harmonization, where does this come from? And yeah, how did you see it channeled in the initiative?
Yeah, so 2 points on that. The first is I was at the MIT in 1996, and I had a colleague who was offering optimization where you could choose a method to get the results you wanted. And that's not exactly what we want with LCA. So we were really actively trying that the results are robust, and that's where I think harmonization and standardization is really useful. The second point is industry also, I think, appreciate to have stability and to have reference method that instead of having every consulting office or everyone doing its own methods, to try to do something which is really good.
What is this, the role that the Life Cycle Initiative is playing in all this process, and how is it evolving?
Having UN in the game, when we had workshop, we could attract among the really best scientists, for example, on human health, on human toxicity, the partnership and the work together enable us to bring the best brain together, and also the enthusiasm.
Where are we now in terms of social LCA?
It started in 2009, and 2020 we launched the revised version of social LCA, that is the new guidelines. We are now participating in the development of the ISO standard. Several members from the Life Cycle Initiative, being steering committee members, project leaders of projects of the Life Cycle Initiative, participating as well in the development of the social LCA standard.
How can the initiative help more businesses and other organizations to integrate the social aspects in their operations?
The initiative is already doing that. I mean, with this document, with the pilots, with the awareness raising on the need to consider social aspects in sustainability assessment. But evidently, there is more to be done. For example, social LCA is considered still at an early stage of implementation compared to environmental LCA, are not at the level of an equivalent database that is for environmental LCA data. And we would need more efforts in that area, but also not only on the amount of data, but also the channels for interacting with other environmental LCA tools, databases, and softwares.
Would you be able to tell us, what do you see as the most relevant developments on life cycle thinking in the last 20 years?
One of the developments I would like to highlight as a first answer is only by looking through the over 100 participants, if you look where they are from. When the first meeting, I think that, Olivier was referring to, was two European professors meeting with Jacqueline, suggesting to work together. And I see here really that it has become really global, from all countries of the world. And another point is moving from a cradle to grave life cycle understanding to a cradle to cradle life cycle understanding, having one solution through a circular economy. And having this as a development where clearly life cycle thinking and life cycle assessment behind is embedded as really relevant, to make eco-design and design for circularity happening.
There's particularly some elements that you've been also quite engaged with on, marine litter and, impacts related to plastics. Can you tell us a little bit about what drove you as well, in particular, to work in this area?
If a topic like plastic pollution, particular, with its relevance for marine litters for the marine environment, it's not being considered. Would call this, blind area where you have no current indicator. So you're not in this way making it an issue for any decision makers to whom you present those results. So it's very important. There is a clear track record of the Life Cycle Initiative that such consensus models can be developed in a certain time frame, and in this way provide new methods that are quickly then adopted by the community and fill these gaps.
How do you see governments use tools like the Sustainable Consumption Production Hotspots Analysis tool?
What we can do is really look at it from a broad policy development, look at it from applications to help prioritize within that region or within that country where the really relevant sectors are the ones that are most critical. And then for those prioritized sectors, you really need to look at it also from what are the specific guidance, PCRs, et cetera.
Have you come across concrete examples of policymakers in China, India, the Americas that are mandating a more kind of directed use of LCA?
In the next, 6 months to a year, we'll have an ultra low carbon solar embodied carbon criterion that will be embedded in EPEAT as a way, and that could be used broader than EPEAT as a way of ensuring that solar panels are encouraged, but also you get ultra low carbon solar embodied carbon.
Why is it so important to bring the social aspect?
And all the interest and really concern of companies and investors, the investment parties, that need sustainability metrics for making decisions. And the best they have, which is a good comprehensive framework, I would say. ESG is very well known to many of us. But as we know as well, it's not based on life cycle thinking necessarily. We may have a couple of indicators like carbon footprint included there, but this is not really fully adhering the life cycle thinking. And this is where we see that now there is a pressure, not only we going to sell what we are doing, but also the pressure coming from the decision makers to please offer them this very, consistent framework with LCA-based metrics.
How can we ensure that the LCA results remain comparable and credible?
One recommended impact assessment method, that would already reduce the differences. And then also the allocation is possible to agree, at least at the PCR level, of in a way that it becomes comparable.
We have this education, which I think really give the frame for good practice. And here the Life Cycle Initiative has played a great role and has continued in terms of capacity building.